Hello Mila, hello Jack. Hello everybody else who's watching. Welcome to Storytime with Grandad. Today's book is from the Clangers and it is The Top Hat. Small Clanger stood on a small hill and looked up into the sky. He was listening intently. He could hear something. A thing, he didn't know what it was hurtling quietly through space, and it seemed to be coming in their direction. Time to go fishing, he said to himself. Oh yes, clangers like to go fishing, but they don't catch fish because there aren't any seas or rivers on their moon. They go fishing in the sky, and sometimes they catch something quite unexpected. Small Clanger has a good fishing rod with a strong line, but on the end of the line he doesn't have a hook. He has a magnet. Small Clanger fetched his rod and line and ran to the music boat. He jumped in, twirled the music wheel, and on a rising scale of music sailed away. He sailed up and up so high that there was nothing but the darkness of space all around him. He stopped the music wheel and the boat hovered there, quite still in the silence. Well, if we'd been there with him, we would not have been able to hear anything at all. But Small Clanger had big round ears, and they were much better at hearing things than yours or mine. Also, he was able to hear radio waves, as well as ordinary noises, which is something we can't do. Small Clanger could hear the thing quite clearly. He was able to tell how far away it was and how quickly it was coming. He stood up in the boat, judging the moment exactly. He swung back his rod, and whoosh, he cast his line. The magnet zoomed away into the darkness. Nothing happened. He had missed. But he quickly wheeled in his line, and whoosh, he cast again. Clang! This time the magnet locked onto something made of metal. Small Clanger hauled in the line with all his strength, and the thing, whatever it was, swung slowly round and was pulled towards his boat. He reached out and held it. Whatever was it? It was large and shaped like a straight-sided barrel, with a wide rim at the open end. It seemed to be made of stiff cloth, with a ribbon around it. The magnet had locked onto a metal buckle on the ribbon. Small Clanger had never seen anything like it before, but if you'd been there, I expect you could have told him what it was. It was a hat. It was an old-fashioned top hat, the sort that conjurers use for their magic tricks. Small Clanger twirled the music wheel the other way, and slowly and gently he sailed down to where Major Clanger was waiting on the surface of their moon. "What have you caught, Small Clanger?" he hooted. The boat landed, and both Clangers looked closely at the top hat. "I don't know what it is," said Small Clanger. "It looks as if it could be a hat of some sort. It is quite empty. The magnet caught hold of this buckle." As the Clangers bent down to look at the buckle, a pair of eyes rose from inside the hat and peered out over the brim. "There's somebody in it," whispered Small Clanger. Major Clanger straightened up. "Hello, small person," he said. The pair of eyes blinked at him for a second, then they ducked down. When the Clangers looked in the hat, it was still quite empty. Whatever it was had vanished. "Perhaps it was frightened," suggested Small Clanger. "Oh, I hope not," said his father. "We must make it welcome." So Small Clanger and Major Clanger stood back from the hat, and hooting together said, "Hello, hello, little person, welcome to our place. Please come out and make yourself at home." The eyes lifted up and looked at them. "Be welcome," said the Clangers. Yark bonk, yark bonk, yark bonk. 3 bright orange persons hopped out of the top hat and stood beside it, gazing at the Clangers and blinking their big round eyes. "How do you do? Very pleased to meet you," said Major Clanger, stepping forward to shake hands with them. The persons didn't shake hands, perhaps because they hadn't any hands. They just turned around and, yark bonk, yark bonk, yark bonk, they hopped away and dived into one of the cave holes. The Clangers watched amazed. "What are they?" asked Major Clanger. "They look a bit like frogs. Or maybe froglets," said Small Clanger. "What are they doing?" asked Major Clanger. "I think they're doing what we invited them to do, making themselves at home." At that moment, with a clang and a squeak, one of the cave holes opened and Mother Clanger's head came out. She was very alarmed. "There's a crowd of friggly, frogly, jumping about things, and they're everywhere," she squeaked. Major and Small ran in to see what was happening. The 3 froglets were busy inspecting every bit of the Clanger's big living cave. There were, in fact, only the 3 froglets there, but because they were jumping about and jumping up the walls, jumping upside down and across the ceiling, in and out of the bed caves, it seemed as if there were many more. "They're only froglets," said Major Clanger, and he went in to speak to them. Excuse me," he began politely. Yark bonk, yark bonk, yark bonk. The 3 froglets marched briskly across the roof and disappeared down the tunnel towards the soup wells. Mother Clanger sighed and sat down on the dinner block. "Oh dear, they did give me a fright," she whistled. "I hope they'll be all right," said Tiny Clanger. "They seem to be looking for something. You 2 had better go after them and see they don't come to any harm," suggested Major Clanger. "And take the trolley and jug and fetch some green soup," said Mother Clanger. Small and Tiny pulled the soup trolley towards the soup wells. "Look!" shouted Small Clanger. Lying on the ground beside the soup wells, they saw 3 orange-coloured objects. The froglets were alive, but too weak to stand. "I think they need food," said Tiny Clanger. Small Clanger called up the soup dragon, and she gave them green soup, but the froglets didn't seem to be able to eat it. Then Major Clanger arrived. When he saw what had happened, he ran out and fetched the hat. But when they tried to lift the froglets into it, hoping they would vanish as magically as they had appeared, they just piled up. There wasn't room in there for them all. The soup dragon was looking at the froglets. "Hello, hello, hello, hello," she said. "I think I know those thinglets. Yes, I doodle. Those'll eat'll pink soup'll." "Pink soup?" asked the Clangers. "Pink soup'll," said the soup dragon. "From Pink Soup'll Lake." "Where's that?" they asked. The soup dragon gave them careful directions, telling them exactly which tunnels and caves to follow. The Clangers took the soup jug and followed the directions. They thought they knew every inch of their moon inside and out, but they were wrong. After quite a long journey through the caves they had never seen before, they came to a pinkish cave with a high flat wall to one side. "There's no lake here," said Major Clanger, looking around. "I'm not sure," said Small Clanger. He picked up a stone and threw it straight at the high flat wall. With a splash the stone disappeared, leaving a circle of ripples which spread slowly out across the wall. "That's the lake," said Small Clanger. "But it's sideways," said Major Clanger. "All right," said Small Clanger. "It's a sideways lake. I'll bet it's full of pink soup." "Look," whispered Tiny Clanger. Gazing out of them from the middle of the sideways lake were 2 round eyes. "I think it's a froglet," whispered Small Clanger. "Hello, froglet," said the Clangers together. "Please come out and talk to us." With a sideways splash, a croak, and a ripple, the creature hopped out of the lake and landed beside them. It was a froglet, and it looked exactly like the others. "Your friends are up with the soup dragon," said Tiny Clanger. "They aren't very well. Please come with us." Small Clanger scooped out a jugful of pink soup and they all ran back to the soup wells, with the froglets hopping along behind them. The pink soup was exactly what the froglets needed. They lapped it up with croaks of delight. Quite revived, they jumped up, and all 4 of them began to hop and dance in a ring. Then, quite suddenly, they turned and hopped away, in line towards the pink lake. The Clangers followed as fast as they could. They arrived just in time to see the froglets line up on the cave floor in front of the sideways lake. "What are they doing?" asked Major Clanger. "Just making themselves at home," said Small Clanger. The 4 froglets turned towards the Clangers, croaked once, solemnly bowed to them as if to say goodbye. Then they turned and yark bonk, yark bonk, yark bonk, yark bonk. The 4 froglets jumped up and with 4 splashes disappeared into the wall of pink soup. "I hope they'll be very happy there," said Tiny Clanger. "What shall we do with the hat?" asked Small Clanger. "I don't know," said Major Clanger. "We'll think of something." But they didn't have to think of something to do with the hat, because when they went back to fetch it, there was no sign of it. The hat had vanished. The end. Goodbye, Mila. Goodbye, Jack. I'll see you soon. Goodbye, everyone. Bye.